we go. And I have seen the Royal Hotel. Alan has not seen the Royal Hotel. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes we get a week where there's a lot of movies coming out, and what we like to do is kind of like we do our best and kind of divide and conquer. So sometimes Alan will go see a movie I wasn't able to see, and vice versa. And there you go. So the Royal Hotel is about two young women having the time of their lives in Australia. They're off partying on a boat, and they're a little low on funds. So what do? Hannah and her friend Liv sign up for a program where they can travel and work. It's sort of a work travel thing where you can continue your walkabout adventures on vacation while you also work and earn money. So they in Australia, they're backpacking and they go to this really remote town. It's a mining town where a bunch of blue collar workers go to this local bar. The local bar is owned by a guy named Billy, who is a complete alcoholic, played unbelievably in an unbelievable performance by Hugo Weaving, who I barely recognized his signature voice. He changed his voice. I barely recognized him. I had to check on IMDb to confirm that this is in fact Hugo Weaving playing the character of Billy. This bar is beyond a dive bar, run down. There are two British girls who are kind of like they're handing off their shift to them. So the British girls have been there for several weeks, bartending there, and they love to party, getting up on the bar, dancing, hooking up with some of the miners, the locals, etc. But Hannah and Liv are a little bit more standoffish. Things get a little weird as it begins with what you would call microaggressions. One of the patrons orders a cider. What kind of cider? Dickens cider. And that's the joke that Liv is the victim of. But Liv is kind of goes with it like, whatever, these are dumb dudes. I'm fine with it. It's fine. But her friend Hannah is really taking offense at all of this. She's obviously been a young woman who's been very sheltered. And I almost felt like for the first half of the movie, I'm like, Hannah, lighten up. These guys they're just dumb guys at a dive bar. Fine. Smile through it. Take your tips and whatever. But things begin to cross a line, with many of the men getting a bit too handsy and a bit too abusive, both in language and physically. And then there becomes a choice. And Hannah, at a certain point, as we get to the third act, decides, I'm not taking this anymore. And it turns into, it pivots from like this fun vacation, things going wrong, to a suspense thriller. I really wasn't sold on this movie in the first half of the film. Just the character of Hannah, I just was like, oh man, she really is like overreacting to things. And then her friend Liv, Hannah's played by Julia Garner, Jessica Henwick. Jessica Henwick plays Liv. I'm like, lighten up. But then when things begin to cross a line and they're in physical danger for their lives, that's when I grew to actually come more to Hannah's side of things. Really great performances. Hugo Weaving, like I said, he disappeared into this role. I didn't even know it was him. And this is a solid thriller. The good thing about this movie, 90 minutes, you're in and out. I actually really enjoyed it. And I'm glad it was like a good 90 minutes. If this thing had dragged on, and the third act, what I love about the third act, they get to the part where basically, and I'm not going to get into any spoilers, obviously, basically you see that like Hannah's like, I'm not taking it anymore. And then things begin to go awry. I'm not going to tell you what happens, but they resolve it quickly in a realistic way, because these women are not stronger than the men. They're just not. These are hardened blue collar workers, work at a local mine. They come to the bar exhausted, just looking to chill and get plastered. And you see all the dynamics happening behind the scenes of the bar. There's a woman named Carol, played by Ursula Jovich, who's the cook, kind of also like an assistant manager of the place. And she kind of helps them out, or she sees how things are going south. Really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this film. I was surprised. Is it the greatest thing ever? No, it's a good, solid indie movie that is a solid thriller that'll get you in and out for 90 minutes. Not going to change the world. I'd rate it somewhere between a 6 and a 7, but the one thing is I was entertained. A lot of people might say that, there's sort of two ways to look at it. This is why I like the character of Hannah. You can say, "Oh my god, she's being attacked by all these microaggressions," but they balance it with her friend Liv, who's just like, whatever, she's the one that's just like, she represents the other side that would be like, just laugh it off, whatever. These guys are stupid. And she even kind of hooks up with some of the guys, and she's like, I know they're dumb, but I'm on vacation and I want to hook up with dudes. I'm young. This is what you do when you're in your 20s. You travel, you hook up with random men, have your fun, get in, get out, and you're out of there. So it kind of represents kind of two sides. And Hannah's like the girlfriend that's like, no, we're leaving the bar. This has gone too far. She's the what some would describe as the not fun friend. I actually ended up enjoying the film. The first half, I was very skeptical, and I did not like the trailer for this movie. I thought the trailer was like, ugh, I was groaning as I was watching it. I think they're trying to appeal to a certain type of audience, but in the end, I ended up really enjoying it. So there you go. Solid thriller, mystery, suspense film that is more enjoyable than expected.
That my impression was from watching the trailer is that this movie drags in the first and second act.
It actually didn't. It didn't drag because events just happened really quickly.
Okay, so
it didn't drag, but they drag out. Like, it starts with the dumb Dickens cider, which is actually, that joke is actually in the trailer. So what kind of cider do you want? Dickens? And then she says Dickens cider, and then she repeats it. It's Liv that repeats it, and she doesn't get the joke until like, oh, Dickens cider. It's a harmless joke. I will say this: I go to a dive bar, the bar, the 35er in Pasadena, and I know the waiters and waitresses there. Shout out to Charisse, Merce, Freddie, and the whole gang, and the bouncers. I know the bouncers at the 35er. No one at that bar, even though it is like a blue collar bar, no one at that bar would make a joke like that to any of the women that worked at the 35er. And I have seen instances at the 35er at my local bar where someone has tried to be rude to one of the waitresses, and every man around is like, it's very protective and like, you're not going to act that way at this bar because, I don't know. It's like a weird male, like, thing that like you.
It's why Americans are better than Australians. Really,
well, no. I think that this is a certain type. Like, you can't stereotype and say every bar is like this, and I can't say every bar is like the 35er. But I've seen instances where people look like they may have been crossing a line, and you don't even need the bouncers. Everyone at the bar. I saw a guy whose credit card got declined at the 35er, and he threw like a drink at this woman, and everyone in the bar got up and was like, you are not going to do that. Get the hell out of here. You got kicked out. But yeah, no, it's and there are other men. There are good men in this movie that do stand up when things go south. I'm just saying, I didn't expect to enjoy this film. I enjoyed it, and it's worth seeing. It's a solid, and the fact that it's like 91 minutes or something with credits, 92 minutes with credits is there you go.